The Cherry Stem Killer, Chapter 1, by the Prowler. I find myself standing here lighting my cigarette, once again hovering over another dead body. Another night, another death, I sarcastically said to the coroner as he looked over the victim's remains. Now, while this isn't unusual for my kind of work, me being a homicide detective after all, the thing that sticks out about these last few murders is there was a tied cherry stem found next to the bodies. Tied as if someone performed that parlor trick when you put the maraschino cherry stem in your mouth and tie it with your tongue. The similarities end there, though, because the manner of death is different in each case. This killer has variety. I truly was hoping not to see another body show up with a cherry stem, because that would mean we have a serial killer on our hands, and that's not something I'm looking forward to. I don't want the spotlight. I'm not looking for fame, and I don't want my name in the paper, but here we are. Plus, with Halloween approaching, the press is already having a field day with this. They're already beginning to call whoever's perpetrating these crimes the Cherry Stem Killer. There'd been 4 murders to this point, with tonight's marking the 5th. And let me tell you, this might be the most gruesome yet. The victim, a Mr. Joseph Llyes, age 54, was gagged and tied to the 4 corners of his bed. He was definitely not alone. The only question is, was he murdered by whoever he was having his kinky night of fun with? Or was he left tied and finished up by someone who came across him in his vulnerable state? With the takeout bags of food from a nearby restaurant found on the dining room table, early reports are already coming back to me that the victim was last seen leaving the restaurant with a much younger woman at approximately 8:30 p.m. Details of said female are as of now medium build, short in height, brunette hair, and estimated age of late 20s to mid-30s. Mr. Llyes was not married, so that rules out his wife. Further investigating of his personal effects will shed light if he was dating anyone currently. If not, then this could have been a chance encounter, an encounter that went horribly wrong. Any initial thoughts, Doc? I asked curiously to Dr. Sheila Andrews, the county's medical examiner, who was presently hovering over the victim's large, gaping throat wound. "What's that, Detective?" she asked irritatingly. I said, any initial thoughts on the cause of death? Was it from the slash to the throat? I asked again as I pointed to the wound. Well, it didn't help matters, but it's too early to say if this is what did him in. I'll know more once I get him up on the slab, she said sarcastically. All right, well, keep me informed once you find something definitive, I told her as I exited the room. Bodies being bagged and tagged, the team's going through the victim's personal effects. I better head on over to the restaurant to check the surveillance footage, see if I can get a good look at this woman who left with Mr. Llyes. As I made my way to the restaurant, I received a call from my wife, wishing me a good morning, and put my son Finn on the phone to say hello. I then informed her I was probably going to be late tonight and not to wait up for me. I could hear the frustration in her voice, as this was going to be another night I was going to be coming home late. But what could I do? I told her there was another victim found with a cherry stem next to their body, and it looked like we had a serial killer on our hands. She informed me she already knew. Before I could ask her how, in my state of confusion, she told me I made the front page of the paper. Detective Mark Riley picked to lead cherry stem murders. The headline read, alongside a picture of me, which my wife said I looked very handsome in. She was concerned, though. That was the frustration I heard in her voice. Not about me doing my job, but the publicity that this case would bring to me and our family. I agreed, but there was nothing I could do. I told her I loved her as I pulled up to the restaurant and told her I'd speak to her later. I got out of my car and went inside, where other officers were waiting. I sat down and went through the footage. Mr. Llyes and his mystery woman arrived at the restaurant together, so he didn't meet her there. They already knew each other. They sat and had a couple of drinks, then ordered their food. In total, they were inside the restaurant for an hour, and in fact did leave at 8:30. The description of the woman was pretty damn accurate from what I could tell, but the only problem was I couldn't tell much. She wore a fur around her neck to help hide her face and sunglasses to help hide her eyes. She moved around the restaurant as if she knew where the cameras were, never completely letting it see her face. She knew exactly what she was doing. I sat there trying to get a proper angle or come up with something, but got nothing. Just then my phone rang. It was Dr. Andrews telling me she had something for me, something strange. I told her I was on my way. I then jumped in my car and headed to the medical examiner's office. On my way, something was gnawing at me though. Something about the woman, the way she moved, the way she carried herself. It just seemed oddly familiar. I don't know. My mind then went back to what Dr. Andrews said. Something strange. What the hell could that mean? What could she have found? How much stranger could this case get? I would like to give a heartfelt thank you to the special friends of the channel for your overwhelming generosity. If you would like to support the channel, the link is below in the description. Also, please send me your stories and poems to duchessofdarkness27@gmail.com. You can also find me on Instagram at duchess.ofdarkness and Twitter at duchessofdarkn2. I want to thank all my listeners for your kindness, your encouragement, and your support. It means the world to me. Thank you for joining me. Until next time.